It was 2014 and things were going great for us. We had two amazing jobs. Erica was working a great corporate career. I was building bridges. We had had a rough year, some things had happened, but nothing enough to, derail us. July 1st, we had our first baby, welcomed our daughter into the world, and it was amazing. And then 2 weeks later, something really drastic happened to us. Our home burned down in the Carlton Complex fire. And then a couple weeks later, we found out the company I was working for was gonna pull the plug on the firm. We both had really good jobs and we'd lost everything. These things happen in life and it's not a time to go, I don't want to keep on going. It's a time to go, let's look and see what change and opportunity can come about this. We reevaluated our priorities in life and put families and passion first. And our passion is wine and delivering that amazing product. And I think that we've started to do that and we're humbled in the fact that people like what we like, and we're starting to create something really special here.
I'm Jeff. I just retired from the military, sold everything I own, and now I'm traveling around the world to learn from brewers, winemakers, distillers, and tell their story. This is my journey of beer, wine, and spirits. Tell me, why is it great times to be a winemaker here in Washington?
I feel like we're on the front cusp of something amazing here. We're newer at the grape growing scene, although the first grapes and wine was made in the late 1800s and then Prohibition hit and it basically wiped everything out. We're 40 years into this gig and we're starting to create this amazing special place. And we figured out that we have probably the best grape growing region in Eastern Washington, possibly anywhere in the world. And we can grow anything here. As a winemaker and also a grower, I can choose what I want to do. If it's a French vinifera, we can grow it. Now, we can't necessarily grow it at every site, right? You gotta make the proper vineyard selections. But we're starting with programs like WSU and all of these programs that are doing really well in the state. We're raising the bar.
I think Washington wines are very consistent in the high quality they have from year to year, and I think for most producers too. And Washington wines over-deliver in quality at every price level too. And that's because we have just such a exceptional growing environment. We have learned how to work well with that, what varieties can be grown well, how to grow them.
Washington wine is better than California wine for the reason that the weather here is dry, but we irrigate so we can control the water, and it's also cool in the evenings. So what happens if it's warm all day long and all night long, the acids in the grapes are diminished. Here we don't have that. We have cool evenings, so we have a higher acid, and the higher acids promote aging the wine better and just makes them taste better.
The wine industry we see today in Washington State started in the 1960s and 70s, really. The first big commercial vineyard was planted in the early 70s. It was in the early 70s when Walla Walla got started. Lake Chelan was much later. It was probably in the 1990s. But still in that very short time, the industry has grown from just a few hundred acres to over 60,000 acres now. Yeah, in the 1970s, there was no AVA to my knowledge. And then we formed the Columbia Valley AVA. That was the first one. And that really encompasses the whole eastern Washington growing region. And what we've seen since then is we added more AVAs. I believe we're up to 15 now. And these AVAs, for the most part, are sub appellations within that Columbia Valley area, because the Columbia Valley AVA is very large. It encompasses quite diverse growing regions in terms of climate, elevation, soils. In the years since, they kind of broke it down and said, well, this is a distinct growing region on its own, so that's a new AVA. Yeah. One of the smallest AVAs is probably the Candy Mountain AVA in the Rocks. Yeah. Is a very new AVA, and it's quite a small one.
Now, traveling around the world, what I'm used to seeing, right, is estates, wineries, you know, the vineyards are on the property. But we went all over the state, and you get the opportunity to choose the different vineyards, right? Why is that an advantage?
I don't exactly get to choose, right? Yeah. You kind of got to prove yourself to get into the better vineyards. Gotcha. Yes, we have the opportunity to buy as wineries from fruit all over the state. And it's a huge advantage. We've had this great palette of wine. So if I want to make a really in-depth, complex Cabernet Sauvignon, I can do that by blending cabs from different areas, different vineyards. Maybe I might take 2 different clones within the same vineyard. Very different clones picked at very different times, vinified separately. We take it through the whole process and then we blend. For that depth and complexity, we can do that within regions within the state. And so it allows us to make a better wine.
I've been hearing from winemakers, from Brock, about contract growers. Now, you're a contract grower.
Yeah.
From your aspect.
Yeah, so we are. So out of their 600 acres here on Red Mountain, I grow for 100 different wineries. And it can range from people that will have just 1 ton from us all the way up to people that have 67 acres with us.
You know, maybe you want Viognier from Antoine Creek right here. Just outside of the Chelan AVA. We're in the Columbia Valley AVA right now, and you want the best Viognier in the state, which we feel like we grow here. You might not be able to grow that down south and retain some of those flavors and that bright acidity and that beautiful tropical notes and make a really dry Viognier that retains all that. So they can come here, buy that fruit from me, and we can spread the wealth. It's fantastic. So
we can grow so many different varieties so well. If you can do it all, why not?
That's the unique thing about Washington. If you go up the Yakima Valley, you can have a Cabernet vineyard, and then right next to it, you can be growing Riesling. Where if you're in Europe, they have their areas and they grow a certain varietal and then move on. But here, you can have reds and whites growing side by side and can do very well and be very unique. A lot of it is the climate that we have here. We only average 7 inches of rainfall here on this side of the state, which is kind of crazy when most people around the U.S. think of us as Seattle, where all the rain is. So
we have warm summers and not extremely cold winters, so the grapes survive here. And the heat in the summer makes good quality grapes. I grow a lot of red grapes, and they do very well here. We've gotten a lot of awards.
What are some of the AVAs right now some of the people watching should be looking for, like up-and-coming AVAs that you're excited about?
There's Red Mountain, which is really known for its Cabernet Sauvignon and these big, bold flavors. And Washington Cab is huge, and these amazing fruit bombs. But they also grow some awesome Syrah there, some Cab Franc. I'm really excited about the Lake Chelan AVA. It's this beautiful glacier-carved fjord, right? It's a mile wide, it's 55 miles long, and it's got these amazing glacial deposits and granite soils and fantastic growing conditions. We've got some uniqueness within the AVA. We've got our North Shore, which is all south-facing slopes, and our South Shore. So we can play with our plantings. The quality of the wine is starting to skyrocket. It's a younger AVA, we're about 10 years in. And we're really starting to make a name for ourselves. We've got people here that are investing in the valley that have traveled the world and seen the most beautiful places in the world, and they're choosing Chelan because it's where you need to come drink wine. And it's just so cool, and it's so stunningly beautiful, and I have to pinch myself on a daily basis.
Syrah, we already know, does really well up there. And it does well on both sides, on the north-facing and the south-facing.
You know, I love Syrah. Syrah is probably one of my favorite wines. Yeah. It's getting more traction all the time now. It's a hard sell, I think, somewhat, but more people are starting to really get into enjoying Syrah. And Syrah from Red Mountain is so good because it's such rich, deep color, And like I said, we're in the hottest site in the state right now, and this AVA has got the most heat units. And so we can really get those real ripe, jammy flavors right now out of it. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Syrah has, in the last 10 plus years, become really well established here, and it's shining here as a great variety for the state. I like it a lot because it so strongly expresses the differences. It shows very clearly where it was grown in different growing regions, how it was grown, and winemaking too has a lot of impact in it. Not all grape varieties are as expressive.
Looks can be deceiving. As I look around, I see rocks the size of potatoes, and I'm wondering why the hell is a vineyard located here? But this is actually a pretty special terrain.
It is. We're here in the Rocks district of the Walla Walla Valley, and this is some amazing growing. I'll tell you one thing that growers like to do is they like to look at challenging areas and see how the terroir is going to turn out. These stones go 40 feet deep, and they produce some really great grapes. We're here today for Syrah, and it brings out some amazing flavors in the Syrah. Some really unique numbers that we see in some of the chemistry. Low bricks, really high pH, gives you a nice mouthfeel, really soft wine, but there's a funk in it. And it's being recognized as one of the most unique growing regions in the United States right now. And the wines that are coming out of here are fantastic.
I've been here for a few days now, and all I've been trying is Syrahs, and I'm really excited about it. Would you care to show us how Syrah is made?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited. We're gonna bring some fruit in, and we're gonna get after it.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. We always start with sampling. Sampling is hugely important in making our pick process. And we walk out, we do a random berry sample. We start sampling once we start to see sugars accumulating. And then we can start to look at what our temperatures look like, what our climate looks like, and see how fast so we can forecast our picks. We take several numbers. We're looking at bricks, we're looking at pH, and we're looking at TA. And then we're tasting. Really important to taste. We make a pick choice. This week we decided to pull the trigger on Syrah. Really excited about the Syrah. It's coming off of Red Mountain. It's a beautiful Syrah. It's going to be a big fruit flavors, some jamminess. We're going to make some white pepper out of it through our winemaking styles. We're hoping that we can get that fruit process as fast as possible. We still want it to be cool. So we get in, we get everything sanitized, we get everything clean. Every day we start with sanitization, we end with sanitization. Went through yesterday and we destemmed and we dropped some beautiful blueberries, right? Some blueberries looking things that are just pure grapes into a big old bin, 1.5 tons of just that. We're going to add a little bit of Viognier. We're going to pick 150 pounds to add to that. It's going to help with some of our flavor profiles and cementing some of our color pigment. Then we took the other half of the lot and we did a whole cluster foot stomp. And that's gonna bring out a lot of that earthiness and a lot of that white pepper and those amazing flavors that are really distinct that Syrah can grow.
I'm not gonna lie, Brock. If you asked me 2 years ago if I would be stomping grapes with another man on this scenic looking lake over here, I would have been, you're effing crazy.
Yeah, no shit, huh?
Yeah, here I am.
pitch the yeast on that next.
Devin, I accidentally dropped the whisk in the...
Oh, whisk to that.
Yeah.
It stays still, so
Okay. I just wanted to see.
actually handled that quite well. I thought he was gonna go,
No way.
yeah.
We're gonna give it a couple of days just to kind of sit, allow those juices. We're gonna test that. We're gonna make sure we don't need to make any gross adjustments. And then we're gonna do our punch downs. We're gonna do that 2 to 3 times a day. We're gonna get that cap rotating. We wanna really increase that skin to juice contact, get that color profile, get those flavors going, really have a nice fermentation. We don't wanna blow off flavors. We don't want anything that's too cool that's gonna allow stuck fermentation either. We find that nice balance and we maintain temperatures all the way through and we take it dry. Then we press it off. So we're loading it back in the press. We've got this beautiful center bladder press we just got this year that is so soft on the fruit and really can extract some beautiful wines. So we press that off and we press that into tank. We let that sit there in tank for about 3 days. And we're just getting some of that gross leaves off. So that's our first racking. Then we put it in barrel. And now we're ready for malolactic fermentation. So we're gonna put it in our warm room. We're gonna allow that to sit there for a couple months. We continue to test it until that ml. So we're changing malolactic acid to lactic acid through that warming process. And then we're gonna shut it down. And now we're gonna kind of put it to bed. We're gonna SO2 it, protect it. And throughout the next 20 to 22 months, we're gonna rack that off the barrels. So we're gonna pull the wine out of barrel, clean the barrel, put it back in, and then put it back to bed in the barrel room. We like to keep our barrel rooms at about 55 degrees to avoid any potential for bacterial growth. And so we like a really cold barrel room. And then we bring in the mobile bottling truck. It's a fun day of bottling. We bottle about 1,000 to 1,200 cases a day through that process, and it's labeled, it's ready to go. And within a matter of weeks, because of his process and how gentle he is with the wine, we really don't have to worry about bottle shock.
I don't subscribe to this saying that the wine is made in the vineyard. It takes people. It takes people with knowledge, it takes money, and it takes dedication, enthusiasm to do things right and keep striving to do things better every year. So it doesn't just happen. It's driven by people.
The most humbling compliment I get is, I don't know which one I like the best. I love all of these wines, and we're able to do that with all these great AVAs we pull from. We start with the wine, and then we work through the experience. I think we've got the best team in Washington. We've just got this amazing team put together that really connects with people. We've got a great indoor-outdoor experience, and then we go into connecting individually with each other. And creating that is really huge to me. And you leave going, not only is this good wine, but this is great service, and I want to come back here, and that's important to me.